to another video, a regular pod. Look, and we in the new studio. It feel like home in here. It feel like home. Look, I'm already getting out of my element. But look, it's the first podcast, y'all. And we got the boss man, entrepreneur, business coach, life coach, Christian coach, BJ.
But they don't see the correlation of their faith and their habits.
High-ticket clients don't need pressure, they need proof.
We were creating things for people to grow. This level of like discipline, structure, order, as it even relates to what we consume. And so I think if I played a role, any role in the movement of the Unashamed, the role probably was just serving and living for Jesus and people being inspired by my faith.
And honestly, I can really say like, you've done a lot for me already and poured into me so much, just like, just how to be a man and just advice and, business and just how to carry myself in the Christian faith and things of that nature. But if you want to explain yourself to who you are to the people, go ahead, my brother.
What's up, y'all? My name is Coach BJ Thompson. I'm an author, speaker, and I am a curator of people. I help people grow from nothing to helping them implement and live in their passion and their purpose and helping them use their influence to make income. Super excited to be here with you guys and can't wait to have this conversation with you today.
Look, man, like I said, he's so knowledgeable and y'all gonna see in this podcast right now. What was your biggest financial adversity you feel like you went through? And like, what was the biggest scar in your financial process of just growing?
Yeah, my biggest financial adversity was trying to get out of debt and losing a lot of money.
Okay.
Right? I was a friend and I were trying to do a business venture just to like move the ball along. And man, I put in, $30,000+ into the venture.
Okay.
And when I put the money in, it was like all going good till it didn't go good. And then I just watched it go to zero. So
how does one, from an average person, how does one conjure up just 30,000?
Yeah. So, taking personal money, bringing in investment. So I was bringing in all kinds of capital in order to start this venture.
Okay.
And what I realized was like, yo, man, we can make it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The plan seemed solid. Felt, like we could just work it over time. It wasn't something fast. And then it was good until it wasn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so for me, that was one of my biggest blows because that's when I got serious about trying to be financially free, economically empowered, all these different things. And I realized, man, you can lose bread doing this.
Yeah.
Right? You get in the game, you want to make money, you want to lose money too.
Risk reward.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. So, man, in this game, when you want to start to change your outcome, it depends on where you come from, right? So if you come from nothing, you want to have something. Some people come from something and they're trying to have more.
Yeah.
Right? Man, the biggest thing I learned is that you have to become a learner and you got to develop a risk tolerance and you have to develop a resilience in order for you to put new, boundaries in from the things that you learn, right?
Yeah. So it's like you really can't, you gotta learn how to take an L.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
I feel like that's a lot of, even young people my age as well, that's like, taking the L is like, okay, once you take that L, like, wash my hands.
Oh yeah, no, that's a part of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that comes with that's part of the cost. Yeah. That's cost of entry, yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely.
Oh yeah.
And you gotta have that thick skin, cause bumps and things in the road are gonna happen. And that's how I feel like a lot of, especially a lot of youngins, like even with content creation and things of that nature, like I posted hundreds of videos already. I probably have like thousands of videos up already. I'm not where I want to be at, but I know that it's growing. It's not, necessarily where I want it to be at, but the growth and, numbers don't lie. So, I'm saying? I'm putting the time in as well. But yes.
And even the point you're making about that, you realize there's infinite opportunity as long as you don't quit.
Yeah.
Right? When I took that loss, to me at that time, it felt like a lot of money. Until I heard a quote from Byron Allen. He's a billionaire.
Yeah.
And he went broke a bunch of times, went into bankruptcy, all this other stuff. He did this interview on the Breakfast Club. He actually bought the Weather Channel. And Byron Allen said that there's trillions of dollars swimming around your head.
Yeah.
And all you need to do is find a vehicle to capture some of it.
Okay.
Right? And so, you know, some of this is like, when I took that loss, yes, that was a lot of money to me in that moment.
Mm.
But when I compared it to the trillions of dollars swimming around, I was like, oh, I just need to go get some of this.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so some of it is like the bounce back isn't just, oh man, I got a tolerance for taking losses. The bounce back is, I'm not done yet.
Yeah, the bigger picture.
Yeah, I'm not out of the game. There's more money to be made.
Yeah.
Yes, I lost that. I need to evaluate how I lost it and why I lost it.
Yeah.
But there's more money to be made, so I can't just let it define it. So, yeah,
I feel
absolutely.
like the biggest thing in that is learning from it. And
True.
not hitting the same,
True.
you know, bumps in the road.
True.
So like you said, like
True.
analyzing and seeing what
True.
happened here
Yes.
and okay, redirecting.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to tweak up how I,
Yes.
you know, my approaching said situation. and
Or
things like
who
that.
you need to partner with.
That's
Yeah.
That's a word.
Yeah. Sometimes
That's a word, but
Oh, you
sometimes it's
partner
a
with,
circle,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Because, like, you gotta clean up your circle as well, y'all. So, like, you know, you are the product of your environment. Like, you know what I mean? Everybody drinking and smoking, you can't expect the best business.
That's 100%. So it's your mindset, first and foremost. And it's you have to have make a decision to say, I want to leave from this position in my life that I'm not happy with, and I gotta define where I want to go.
Yeah.
If that's making, do you want to make $30,000, 50, 100? 8 by 86 is $1 million a year, right? So you gotta decide, what do you want to do? Then you have to comprise of a plan to get there,
Yeah.
right? Until you change your mind that you want to change, and you will do anything to get out of that position legally and morally, you will not move, right?
Right.
But then the other piece is, who do you partner with?
Yeah.
Do you partner with people who always take losses? Or do you partner with people who are winning?
You gotta surround yourself
With winning. Yeah, winning. Not
Yeah.
perfect, but they're winning.
I don't know who said it, but there's a quote. And it says, if you're in a room and you're the smartest in the room,
100%.
you're in the wrong room.
100%.
You're in the
100%.
wrong room.
100%.
You know what I mean? You're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
100%. And man, that's hard. I came out the hood. So coming out the hood, you got people, they get stuck in a certain thing. They keep going back and forth all the time. And you want to be helpful for them.
That's what I struggle with that right there. That right there.
But you want to be helpful for them.
Yeah.
But literally all they can do is pull you down,
Yeah.
right? Because they're not in a position yet to where they made up their mind and learning from the lessons that would allow you guys to go together. So for me, it's not just me making up my mind, coming up with a new plan and being specific about the outcome. It's who am I partnering with? Am I partnering with people who are winning or people who are content with just losing or repeating the same cycle again? And that was one of the biggest lessons I learned.
How does your faith tie in with your money? How would you break down just, you know, a lot of people separate it.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
I got God over here and I got my money over here.
yeah.
You don't really, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So how would you say, what's the best way to segue those together and how should a Christian, you know,
Look at
pursue
money.
that? Yeah, look at money, yeah.
I mean, for the longest, bro, nobody gave me a process to see money and God together.
Yeah.
So all I knew was like prosperity, teaching people that, you know, seem to use the Bible to like extract money from people.
Okay.
Or I was around people, another group, where they promoted a poverty gospel. It was always, you more righteous by being poor, right?
That's
Right?
that sounds familiar. Yeah.
Right? What I realized is there's a holistic gospel where you literally look at money as a tool. That's it. right? It's not a God. It's not over you. You do not bend and yield to all things. Again, we see it in the media right now, right? We're seeing people dating in relationships, and money then begins to corrode their soul. It's not a tool, it's a God, right? And so because of that, when you start to get a good view of money, the Bible says that you either love one master and hate the other. It says you cannot serve money and God, right? Doesn't mean you can't have both, right? So I serve God who is in relationship, but I use money
to
right?
serve God. That's
Right?
a tool,
Right? So I serve God, but I use money. And that means as I love God, I can love people. But if I love money, then I have to use people. Right? I can't serve them. So that's the rewiring. The rewiring is, if I love money, all I can do is use people. Right? Because remember, I'm using something to get something. But if I love God, I can just use money and I can love people. When you see it like that, now having the abundance of mind, you go, oh, I'm living in abundance. I'm speaking abundance into my life. Because I've been a co-creator with God to walk in this world, to cultivate the land and to provide blessing. Right? See, nobody got no problem with money when it's time to pay for some type of charity. Nobody has a problem when it's time to build an orphanage with money. Nobody has no problem when it's a fundraiser for a school that need money, right, to keep functioning. No one has a problem with money there. So it's not money ain't the issue. It's how we look at money. It's how we treat money. It's how we do with money. That's the issue.
And that's real, because that's pretty much everything in the world, right?
100%.
We're the ones that pervert it, right?
100%.
Everything, so I can totally agree on that. And I feel like, with me, I feel like sometimes I want to give my money. And okay, like, it's not mine, it's God's money, right? I've earned myself in a way of like, okay, I'm giving, but I feel like I should be pouring into myself so I can give more efficiently, right?
I'm gonna give you something for free. The Lord provides us structure and order, right? It says that when he came to the planet, it was formless and void, so he gave it a form. And then he created order. Put the sun up so that when the creation would know when to wake up, put the moon up so they know when to go to sleep. So he provided structure. He took the land and the water and he said, oh, if I let them go here, they're going to drown. So he put a chasm, separated land and water, so they knew how far they could go. Right? When that happened, he provided structure. Things were able to grow. Right? One of the reasons why money don't grow because we don't have no structure for it. Right? So when we gain structure for it, now it can grow. It is organized to where it can grow, and then we can plant seeds with it, investments, and then they can multiply.
And that's where planning out and budgeting is so important. Okay. So let's segue into the next question. How did you know pivoting into coaching, life coaching, and things of that nature was your calling?
Man, I didn't know. I stumbled into it. I wouldn't say pivoted. I stumbled into it. I've always been told since I was a child I was smart, I was talented, I was gifted. Then it was, man, you're a good communicator. And the more I started, people would seek me that answer questions. I could just see their problem at a deeper level. Right? I could see this is off. I could see that. And I would say it, and when I would say something to them, they would say, man, I never thought of that. I never considered that. So what I had to do is I stumbled into it. I just had to take mental note of the good and the bad feedback that I was getting from people.
What do you feel like, what action you feel like is the best way to do that? What, are you jotting that note down? Are you voice memoing? Because I know I have 1,000 mental notes. And they just get lost in,
But see, I grew up without voice memo. I grew up without all that. I grew up without the internet.
Yeah.
So I had to do this pencil and paper, rock and stone.
Okay.
So I had to do it without that. Yeah, I grew up way before. I grew up before the .com, before the Yahoo, before all these different things. What I would say is, for those people growing up with technology, there's plenty of personality assessments and tests, right? I didn't know about them. I never heard of them before.
Yeah.
So I had to actually figure it out on my own.
Yeah.
One way that I understood is that you gotta figure out what your pain is. Your pain is always connected to your passion. So I'm gonna tell you what my pain is. My mother had me at the age of 17 years old.
Yeah.
My father dropped out of school in 10th grade. Means my life skills, my personal and professional development, all of the skills that I was learning was coming from a teenage mom and a dad with less than a high school degree of living, of education to give to me. Every time I've gotten to a new place in my life, personally or professionally, I didn't have a map, I didn't have a guide, and I had to figure it out on my own, right?
Yeah.
And I learned some painful lessons on investment. I learned some painful lessons in professional life. I learned some pain. So my pain has then caused me, especially as I chose to provide a solution, my pain has made me say, I don't want to see anyone else go through that pain. Mm-hmm. And now because of it, I create tools, resources, programs, courses. That's where the coaching comes in at. Because I went through the pain. Until you can clearly articulate your pain, you cannot step into your calling with conviction.
Wow. That's funny because I would say, I grew up around like a lot of, so obviously I wasn't the richest and things of that nature. So, but I feel like one of my dreams is to start an after school program, not even an after school, but like, a getaway for kids to be able to lock in and have that and not be able to not to go into, the streets, etc., and things of that nature. So, and I know that was something that was snatched away from me as a young kid. So I can see how that correlates, okay, your conviction, you're convicted by your pain to do, your passion. So that's real.
And sometimes that's not always being paid, that's a passion. But if you want to be paid, you have to pick up a skill, right? A lot of people have a passion, but they have to develop a skill that's going to pay them for that passion. Yeah. So I would say that's just a hobby. Do it on the side.
So your passion is a hobby? You mean your passion is a hobby?
Well, no. I'm saying your passion can be connected to profit, but the link between passion and profit is a skill, right? I'll give you an example. So let's just say my passion is people getting an aha moment, right? Love to talk. When I talk to people, I love to have people have an aha moment. But my job don't pay me for that. My job pays me to go put, this item into this box and then push it down this conveyor belt. My job don't pay me for it, right? If I want to start making profit with my passion, I have to then go create a skill that will pay me to be able to connect the two, right? That's the link. The skill is what's going to pay me. So the skill, right, that's my passion, but I'm not getting paid.
Yeah.
Profit is on the other side.
Yeah.
Skill is in the middle.
Yeah.
The skill may be, I go buy a course to learn how to book 5 paid speaking gigs. So now I'm investing in myself.
Yeah.
But I'm picking up a skill through a course or coaching or something of the sorts in order for me to make profit out of my passion, right?
Yeah.
And so that's how you make the pivot.
Yeah.
A lot of people just want it to be a passion, and that's fine.
Yeah.
That's just your passion.
Yeah.
But that's not how you get paid.
Yeah.
The only way you get paid with a passion is by picking up a skill, a market skill, when you solve somebody else's problem.
Yeah, so if I was to explain it in my own words, I would say like, one of my passion is for people and helping people, and so through my content, that's a skill.
That's a skill.
That's a skill. Pursue my passion. You know?
Yep.
Yeah, I can resonate.
Yep.
Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to the next question. So if you can relay one message to the youth, let me say that one more time. If you can relay, let's say that one for the end actually. That's how I close the question. Why do most Christians fail in their business ventures? What would you say?
Most Christians fail in their business ventures because they don't treat it like a business. They treat it like a ministry, right? A business has a plan. A business has standard operating procedures. A business has a team. A business had ways to generate revenue. It has a value proposition, has a marketing structure, has a clear offer, has a sales, has like it's all these different things. So a business has all these things.
And they say you walking by faith.
Bro, that's what it is. I say you walking by foolishness though.
Yeah.
Bro, you don't look in the Bible, and honestly, I this is true. I hate to say this too. The Western version of Christianity, the Greek mind messed us up.
Wow.
That don't happen in the East, right?
Yeah.
They were building pyramids, right? They built cities based off of this. When it was time for them to build a temple, God handed them some instructions first.
Yeah.
When it was time for them to build an altar, God handed them an instruction. When it was time to build an ark, Noah, he had a plan, right? When it was time to rescue human beings from their sin, there was a plan that was already laid out. We live in such a disconnected view of faith. We live in what's called a Gnostic faith. You ever heard this before?
Gnostic?
Gnostic, you ever heard this before?
I think I heard Cliff Canetto talk about it.
Yeah, so Gnosticism.
Oh, Gnostic.
Gnostic.
Oh,
G-N-O-S-T.
Okay, I never heard that.
All you gotta think about is, it's the same reason why the masters in America allowed the slaves to be slaves and give up all their labor and wages for free. So what they said was, your body belongs to us, but your reward is gonna come in heaven, right? Don't worry about getting paid for your work. Don't worry about none of that stuff. Your body belongs to us. We own your body. What you gonna get is spiritual rewards. You can get some spiritual suits. Not you're sowing into the ground and you're gonna reap a fruit, right? So because we learn these things in this very skewed, distorted way, now we can't connect the business and our godly call, right? So why do they fail? Because we have a bad view of God. We have a bad view of what it means to grow something. We have a bad view of the kingdom, and we don't have a plan.
You feel like that's from not doing due diligence in your Bible, or just being in the Western culture period?
Because you ain't doing due diligence to learn what it means to grow a business. Every business has what I just named. It has a value proposition. It has an offer. It has a marketing strategy, a sales strategy, it has projections, it has accounting. There are basic things that happen. If you don't have a business plan and all these different things, how can it succeed? Remember, it's not ordered. When we go back to the end, there is no order. And where there is no order, there is no shalom.
For sure. That's right. Alright, so what do you feel like the importance in the business to have a team behind you? And what does that team really look like? Well, like how would you manage them?
So I would say the importance of a team is the only way you can scale, right? Most people end up working in the business, they never work on the business. So they're doing all the day-to-day things. They dunking the fries, they're mopping the floor, they are taking orders at the front counter. They're in the business doing these things, right? They don't just get to sit back and look and say, oh, that sign doesn't have lights in it. Oh, this truck isn't bringing enough of this item. That's working on the business, right? On the business is kind of a 30,000 foot view. In the business means I'm just doing what I can to generate revenue to keep customers satisfied. the importance of team is really this. So let me just say this. Before you get a team, you need to do everything yourself, right? You need to go through each part of the process yourself. Mm-hmm. Because when you do, it's going to give you a respect and a healthy awareness of what each person does before you delegate it to somebody else. Yeah. If you don't do that, you will not know every aspect of your business, right? Yes. So as an owner, you need to know 100% of how this works, right? So I would say in the beginning, it's okay. That's entrepreneurship. You are doing all the different things. Yeah. Because you need to touch each one to know what each one feels like.
Higher reverence.
Absolutely. Yeah. But once you do, you're simultaneously documenting processes. Because you need to know what happens at each one.
Well, you know it. You know, Sally not dropping the fries
100%.
long enough. Like, you take them 30 seconds out, and I know what happens. It's a little soggier when you take them out 30 seconds long.
That's Chick-fil-A.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
This is why the Chick-fil-A model works so well. The owner works the store. They sweep the floor. They take orders. They drop the fries. Yeah. They make the sound. They can see every part of the operation. Yeah. So I would say before you go get a team, you go do each one of the jobs. Know what happens at each one. And one of my biggest mistakes early on was, I was like, man, I'm not good at it, so I need to pass it to somebody else.
Say that, you know, what advice can you give to young people that are aspiring to, you know, become great in their own fields, whether it's faith, financial, and business, and all? Like, what gems would you give them?
Yeah. So what I would say to this younger generation, one, I'm proud of you. Yeah. Right? Sometimes it's very hard to be young and to be surrounded by older critics. Yeah. Right? And it can feel like, man, there's always something negative to say. So I'll just say that. Second thing is, you have to respect the process of it. Yeah. Right? An overnight success can be lost overnight as well. Wow. Right? So what I've been doing it for 25 years. Yeah. In some ways, I'm just now getting some of the recognition, the awareness, and really the accolades that I have been planting seeds for a long time. And the reason why I'm so solid is because my success is built on failures and a lot of lessons. Right? It's okay to go through the process. This is the importance of having a plan, a clear vision, or something written down on the wall. It's written down and you're following. That way you're not moved so much by your emotions, you're moved by the KPI, the key performing indicators within your plan. If you can keep that in your mind, it will keep you from being discouraged. It would allow you to lock in. Yeah. And it would give the ability for you to progress despite what you may feel in discouragement here and there.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much.
Oh,
bro.
yeah.
Thank you so much. Look, as you guys can see, he's a brilliant mind. And he just dropped a whole bunch of beautiful blessings on us right now. But if you guys want to check him out, I'll put all his links down below, his coaching and everything down below. Make sure you guys sub to him, like, all that. His Instagram is going to be down there. But thank you guys for watching. This is the first podcast. And I feel like we get it right. So make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and we out.